Hi, welcome to Just Another Button Company. I'm Cecile, and today I'm going to show you something that we call faux sewing. You know, sometimes when you sew on a button, it's pretty easy. Just you're sewing it in one place. Other times it's tricky, and there is a quick and easy method that uses a glue product. We like this iCraft mixed media adhesive. Really easy way to add extra buttons to your sewing. So I showed you the iCraft glue. We also have an assortment of buttons down here, some handmade, some hand dyed. Rachel's favorite pebble needles. There's sharps and a pair of scissors and our favorite Arfil thread. And we have some projects, and I'm going to show you how to use faux sewing on these projects. Okay. This button has, or this little pillow here has been tufted with two buttons, and to do that you have to sew up and then down through two stacks there, two buttons. So you're matching the holes. If you have a 4-hole button underneath and you put a 4-hole button on the top, then you know you're fishing around trying to get your needle to come up through there. Well, we've discovered that there's another way to do that, and that's where this faux sewing comes into play. Okay, this little bee pillow right here, I have a needle threaded with a matching color of thread, and I've tied a knot to the end there. If I take a button that I want it to look like that's been doubles, I can either put that one there or maybe that one. You know, audition your buttons. Which one do you like? Oh, I kind of like that one, but I want to show you how to do a 4-hole, so I'm going to go with this one. Okay, so I have it knotted. I'm going to sew an X, but I'm not going to sew it to the pillow because we're faux sewing. I'll scoot that out of the way for a minute. So I've sewn down through one hole, up through another hole, and now I'm going to sew between the two threads that are just in front of my needle. Right there, see how it's caught there? Okay. I'm going to hold that in place, and I'm going to sew back and forth through the holes 3 or 4 times, and then I'm going to rotate the button. I'm going to sew back and forth through the other 2 holes. What you're looking at now is the back of the button because I'm holding that knot there under my thumb. Okay, so I'm going to end on the back. Take a couple stitches, sew up through the loop. That makes a knot. This is a good time to do it twice just to be certain it's not going to come out. Okay, so now that thread is knotted at the beginning and the end on that side of the button. It looks really nice on the front, got nice cross stitches, nice and full like that, but it's not attached to anything. Okay, so we call this faux sewing. It looks like it's sewn, but it's not sewn to anything. So now if I take my mixed media glue, I am going to put a drop of glue right on the threads at the center of this button, and then I'm going to pop that button right on top of it and let it dry. Well, okay, I'm going to set that one to the side then and let it dry. Alright, here's another spot where faux sewing comes in handy. Well, look at this. You can faux sew with a pin too. Just stick it on there and make it look like it's sewn on. But if you look at this one really close, you can see that I have sewn up and down through the holes on that, tied it off in a knot in the back. That's faux sewn. And so is the bird. Because we weren't really sure with these buttons from the cheer package, see the knots on that side? We wanted to audition all of these little buttons and decide which ones we were going to put on here. So did we want to put the peppermint on there? Or did we want to put the bird? What we ended up doing was we decided we liked the holly right there and the bird on top of it. Okay, so we could take those off, attach the thread to the pillow and sew them right down there, or we could do this. Now if you were doing fine needlework, you would never think about getting glue this close to your stitching, but that's not the effect that we're looking for here. These are supposed to be fun little pillows. It's okay to get a little glue involved in the project. I'm going to glue this right to the pillow. Now, this type of glue will actually stick to the button, but if I put the glue on the threads on the back, I know it's going to stay right where I put it. It's not going to run off. It's centered under the back of the button, and the threads will be glued to the pillow when that dries. Okay, so now we're going to take our little cheer pillow here. We've done the button applique on top of the mitten, and you'll notice that as you fill this in here, sometimes it gets tricky. Like if you wanted to add one more button right there, and you wanted to do a 4-hole button, you're just sure that that's the exact right spot for that button, that's going to be kind of tricky to sew that on. It's a perfect place to do faux sewing. So I'm going to prep this. Here's another quick way to get this started on the back. Leave a little tail and double knot. Okay, then from the back, oof, do your faux sewing. Keep the tails to the back. Okay, and then I'm going to do the cross threads. 1, 2, 3 times, that should be plenty. Sew a loop, knot it off, second knot just for good measure. Okay, now you have 2 tails to trim. Doesn't matter how messy the back is. Okay, so now you're all prepped to add that button right there, and it looks just like it's been sewn on there at that point. So I'm going to put some glue on the back of it. Now, this one, I can't just glue the threads down because it's not going to actually touch the fabric back there. So I added an extra generous amount of glue. Not enough to squish out the edge, but enough so that it's going to touch these buttons that are around it. And it's going to take a little bit longer for that glue to dry because it's button to button. So if I take a piece of clear tape and hold that down there, then that's basted into place and it's not going to come loose. This is also a great way to sew a clay button to faux sew a clay button in place. I think we could add the peppermint swirl. We could add light bulb button. One of these berry buttons. Right there. I think the peppermint swirl is the one I like. I've already done the faux sewing on it. You can see the little knot on the back there. So if I add glue to the back and then drop it into place right there, add add my clear tape. And once that dries, those are permanently in place. I'm going to add some tape to this one too. All right, this little pillow here is button tufted. It's been pulled down tight. It's really easy to tuft this. We have a tutorial online that you can look at to see how to tuft. Now, if you wanted to tuft with a 4 on top of a 2 or a decorative button on top of that, you know, you could fish through there, but it's a lot more fun to sew up and down the same way as before. If you are doing a 2-hole button, it's even quicker. I'm going to faux sew it first. You can use matching or contrasting threads. Okay. All right. Knot it. Clip it in the back. Add the little glue right there. Put that on top. So easy. Okay. And that's Faux Sewing. Thanks for joining Just Another Button Company.